All right, everyone, I do believe we are now indeed live, which means just a moment again, as always here, so that I can mute this as soon as it comes on. I will be paying attention to chat, don't worry. Mute that. It's a Pumpzini or something, I guess. It's funny. Before I get into this, just let me explain this because I find it hilarious. I intended to get just zucchini plants because, you know, zucchini are yummy. They're good boiled. They're good baked. You can put Parmesan and spices on it. They're really good. You can do anything. You put them in your lasagna, which some people don't for some reason. Now, try it. Just trust me. But Home Depot's seedlings, I guess, were crossed with something else. So I'm going to try to eat it. I mean, if it's crossed with a pumpkin, it'll be disgusting. If it's like a winter squash, if you cook it right, I guess, you know, you can whip it up with some butter or something, I guess. We'll see. Anyway, we had a lot to talk about today. This is sort of, isn't this the fourth one in a week or something? I've gotten more into the live streaming thing because it's fun. For everyone who's just joining and stuff, I will be paying attention to chat sometimes, taking some basic Q&A and so forth. I do that from time to time during these live streams. Next, definitely share out the link if you can. Cross-platform, put it on your fucking Gab, Minds, Twitter, Parler, whatever you're on. Your Facebook page, for the 10 of you that still use that platform actively, like put it on Zuckerberg's site, just vex him because I think that he's a Gen 2 synth. He's basically, he's the unloved third twin of Dima and Nick Valentine. We got so much to talk about. The tech summit, I think, is today, the social media summit. Got to talk about that. Ben Garrison from last night. Talk a little bit about the Facebook rules a little bit more in depth because it was funny when Paul Joseph Watson's video on it. He was like, you know, you could tell he could barely even believe it. It's like even Facebook having the audacity to literally incite violence towards people is even that's it's abnormal even for Facebook. So anyway, I'm going to be doing some question and answer in here first. Tommy Robinson sent to prison for 9 months. Yeah, over and under odds on him surviving. I think that he will, because they don't want to make him a martyr, but I think he's going to spend 9 months being intimidated and harassed. Oh, he'll be mistreated in prison. Not surprised. Of course, are they giving him time served for the month he was already in there? Because then it's only 8 or something. Long-running bet, are you wearing pants? Yes, I'm not wearing shorts or just my undies or anything like that. Yeah, Tommy, 66 days in prison? Well, you know, 3 months, 66 days, whatever. So he got time in prison. Did they fine him? Probably. 66 days, it's not that bad. It's not exactly, you know, years and years in the brig, but, you know. Yes, the new Styx live show. Yeah, I mean, I like dicking around with the chat, and I turned slow mode on this time. I did remember to think of that. I like that more than covering the main topics. It's actually funny. This is more audience participation geared, and I'm kind of getting used to it. It's actually kind of fun. Can you have an empty cup and spoon just for the soothing sound? Well, mine's got coffee in it. You can't really, maybe you can you can see the reflection there a little bit anyway. I've graduated from using milk in the coffee or creamer or something to literally, you know, those Java monsters and similar like coffee flavored energy drinks. You just put that in there with the actual coffee that you've brewed. It's actually pretty good. I did that once with you know, those green ones, the Monster energy drinks, the Irish coffee ones. It's pretty good. I remember one time I had one when I was in UVM years and years ago, and I really, really liked it. And then the one gas station that stocked them stopped stocking them. I could never find them again until recently, and they brought it back, and they're all over Rutland. I'm like, yes, finally. At long last, I could be a 30-year-old boomer. You live in Rutland. Do you ski? Nope. I skied. I did downhill skiing once. Hated it. It's like, what's the point? And then I did cross country. That was okay. But I prefer snowshoeing. I mean, well, really, I prefer just hiking when it's snowy out. But the best thing, when it's snowy out and cold, people from this climate, for the most part, we just want to stay indoors. It's as easy as that. I want a big-ass greenhouse with a sodium vapor lamp so that I can simulate summer in the middle of winter. And it's like, seasonal effective, what's that? I'm sitting here in the jungle. I'll put on I'll have a really, really fast Wi-Fi connection out there too. I'll fucking sleep on a cot in the greenhouse. Fuck the house. Keep me around my plants. Oh, it smells so good in the greenhouse too, especially the ones with the CO2 pump. This is so great. Yeah, people are always fruiting instructions for you too. I think you're rye grain, fully colonized. I don't know if you're referring to some sort of drug or not. If you are, I don't do any of that stuff anymore, but I appreciate the thought. By the way, these are chamomile tea, and as they dry a little bit more, they sort of settle in. I've got more over there that's ready to jar up. I'm going to need at least one more small pint jar now, and then I've got a whole nother batch drying over there too. Anyway, we'll get to our first main subject, which is the social media summit. Again, I believe it is today. Ben Garrison was disinvited from the event. Now, there are conflicting sort of rumors about the whole situation. That makes me a little bit suspicious. I am extremely disturbed that Ben Garrison would be disinvited. Then there's some saying, well, he wasn't really. They were just talking about how it would overshadow the summit if he was there because of my anti-Semitism claims. As like the ADL apparently has one of his altered cartoons. It's a 4chan joke to take every Ben Garrison cartoon and make it anti-Semitic. It's a long-running, years-long joke to a bunch of trolls. And it's funny because, Ben Garrison is sort of just a general like Trump MAGA populist. He's not anti-Semitic. He doesn't care. He's just a standard conservative. And so they started altering his cartoons to make it more like a Wyatt Man sort of stuff. And at first, Ben Garrison took the bait and he was like enraged and like threatening to sue. And he made like a book about it, talking about the Nazis and stuff. And he drew cartoons about it. What he, I think, ended up realizing is the attention he was getting was lucrative, even if it was negative attention. And so he's like, well, I'm not a Nazi, but, you can't stop people from memeing you. And he did the right thing, which was eventually he just started ignoring it. But the problem is the ADL apparently doesn't realize the difference between his cartoons and the altered versions, as long as they're done properly. I think they have specifically a problem with the one where Netanyahu is trying to direct Uncle Sam to attack Iran. And it's like, that's not anti-Semitism, that's about geopolitics. If you consider that anti-Semitic, I don't know what to tell you. And the other one was the one where the arm that says Rothschild is dangling like puppet strings and holding George Soros up. And in turn, he's got more puppet strings holding up, I think, the Democratic Party or something. Criticism of George Soros is not anti-Semitism. He gets criticized by the nation of Israel fairly regularly. The fact that he happens to be Jewish does not protect him from criticism. It's fair criticism to say that someone like him, who stands for censorship and war and terrible things, is an asshole. And if you think that that's anti-Semitic, again, who fucking cares? The ADL hasn't been truly relevant in a long time. They just basically like the Al Sharpton of the world. And they like to police speech and raise a fuss and get money by doing that. So I'm extremely upset that Ben Garrison was disinvited. It sounds to me like Ben Garrison, out of a sense of loyalty, is covering for the Trump admin, actually, to tell the truth. Now, last night, I was more irate last night. I'm like, well, no one should even show up to the event. I think grand strategy-wise, the best thing that could happen is no one shows up and they all very vocally say, look, you disinvited one person. You bowed before the media's pressure, just saying my anti-Semitism, my hate, my extremism. That shows that the summit's not going to go anywhere. And I'm demoralized by this. I don't think the summit's going to do any good. And I was contacted, I'm not going to say by who, but by one of the people that's going to be there, one of the major figures there. He's like, let us handle this, so we just give us support. Don't worry, we're going to raise these concerns. I appreciate the candor, but the problem is Trump is a Luddite technologically. He doesn't even use a computer. He is completely beholden to outside input to know what the fuck is going on with tech censorship. My worry is that people are going to boil it down, like Mitchell and these others that are going to be there, are going to boil it down to a simple conservatives are being censored thing. And that allows the tech firms to continue because 50% of the population doesn't give a fuck. What it's really about is that 99% of the population is being robbed of their right to obtain information and entertainment that they want to seek out by a bunch of multinational corporations and a handful of billionaires. But my worry is that that's not actually going to be the point that gets hit home. My worry is that the tech summit here falls apart upon accepting the media's sensationalism and not bothering to defend Ben Garrison against defamation by groups like the ADL. If the Trump administration can't even tango with some of the legacy media networks on that, well, then what's the point? You're not going to be able to do it for anyone else. The claim is false. Ben Garrison's not a Nazi in any way, shape, or form. So, I mean, you should have defended him. Should have said, Trump should have come out and said, well, I see all this bullshit about Garrison. He's already explained it. I don't know what you're talking about. And then the legacy media keeps chiming in. They're like, wow, they're having a social media summit and the social media companies aren't even invited. They've already been invited to talk to the White House and the legislature. Zuckerberg and Dorsey and all these other losers get called there constantly to give testimony. They're never put under oath. They're never held to any legislative standard when they're giving testimony. They're given free rein to lie the whole time, and they never face anything for it. Zuckerberg lied repeatedly in front of Congress. Nobody ever prosecuted him for it because he's a billionaire. Trump is the first person to, at the very least, I do give him props for this. It's the first time that a mainline politician has seriously considered the wishes and the concerns of creators which built the internet. Individuals, small-time private individuals and voluntary groups built the internet. They put all of the content that's there for the most part on it. These big tech firms are just amalgamating other people's content. What is Facebook but a bunch of pages curated by other private individuals? It's no different than the internet is to websites as Facebook is to its user base. It should be considered for some intents and purposes a public utility. The same is true of Twitter. The same is true of YouTube, where I'm streaming right now. But I don't have much hope for the tech conference here. If it starts off the day before the conference with, oh, by the way, one of the heavy hitters that was invited is disinvited now. Can you imagine, by the way, and I doubt he'll say it publicly, again, for political reasons. He likes Trump. I understand it. I like the dude as well. Ben Garrison and Trump, that is. But can you imagine how Garrison must feel in private? Oh, wow, I got invited to the White House. I get to shake hands with a dude I have visibly defended for the last 3 fucking years. I've done hundreds of cartoons featuring him, almost as though he was a god man. It's like some great shit. I get to meet him finally. He's going to know my name. He's going to call me Ben. Wow. And then he gets disinvited the day before the summit. I feel sorry for Ben Garrison. I really do. And it's because of the ADL of all groups. Trump should come out and chastise them. It's about time we make it politically inconvenient for people on the right who know that there's a problem to not do something about it. That's how you get results. The next possibility, that's the best possibility, is no one shows up and they all say, why was Ben Garrison disinvited? It's stupid. Invite everyone over again next month, and this time keep him on board and ignore the legacy media like you. Trump always calls them the fake news media, but then all of a sudden it matters when it's Ben Garrison. That's the best thing that could happen. It won't, but that's the best thing that could happen. The next best is that people like Tim and Ottman and the others that are going there, you need to tell Trump that this is not an issue of partisan politics. For politically strategic purposes, he can pretend that, but he needs to approach it as though it was a money issue. And he's not dumb. Even if his advisors are misleading him, I'm sure part of him understands it's fundamentally about the money. He's a money guy. He's not even really a partisan. People say, well, he's a far-right Republican. No, he's not. He's a business dem from Manhattan. He traverses party lines. Yeah. So I hope that Tim and Bill Ottman and some of these others that are going, I hope they can talk some sense into Trump. It's just that I'm not so optimistic about their chances of doing so, I suppose. Yeah. Yo, little Donnie. I told Tim Pool that he should bring up Andy Six's logs. Another thing would be Perlman's Yo, little Donnie. Imagine if Trump took it seriously. He probably would. By the way, when I post that on Twitter, those are not real Ron Perlman posts. Some people persist in believing that they are. The joke was, what was his name there? The first Me Too dude, the big billionaire mogul there who I guess screwed a lot of models and actresses and shit. What the fuck was it? Not Epstein. It was way earlier than that. The fat one. The one that I think got off on all charges. What was the name of that dude? The first hashtag Me Too guy that got in trouble there. Weinstein, Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, you're right. What was I going to say? With that, with Weinstein, what happened is apparently Ron Perlman, this is his story, and I don't know if it's true. He was at a meetup where Weinstein was going to be there. And he went to the he knew he was going to shake Weinstein's hand. He's like, well, I can't avoid it because he's kind of hosting the party. So he went and he took a piss and he pissed all over his hand and didn't wash it and, shook Weinstein's hand. And he told this story. And I think the idea was, haha, I got one over on this pervert. But how it really came off is you just sound screwed up. You sound like, obsessive and weird. And he says weird shit. He's got Trump derangement syndrome anyway. So now they have the Yo Little Donnie meme, which is just extrapolating Perlman's hand pissing to be like he's obsessed with scat and he like lets people abuse him and stuff, and then says that Donald Trump is a racist for not doing the same. Like, you know, I let this dude shoehorn my asshole open and spit in it, and like I sucked the gas out of this dude's asshole and stuff like that. You fucking orange bigot. And it's hilarious. It's the best thing since Dolan. It's great. Yeah. So supposedly he pissed on his hand to shake Weinstein's hand. It's like, if you knew he was a bad dude, you should have probably told somebody about it and not just peed on your hand and shaken his. It's like the best thing. It is. It's just as good as Andy Six's logs or Dolan Duck. The reason why I like these things is this: they go so over the edge. Like, people are trying to out-edgy one another, and that makes it better and better and better until it's just total nonsense. It doesn't even make sense anymore. Yeah. No coffee and cup conspiracy. Anyway, yeah, Trump is trying to address censorship. The problem is it's hard to fight a battle when you don't know who the foe is. Trump appears convinced that it's evil liberals. It's not. It's a bunch of evil billionaires that want to crush independent content creators on behalf of their corporate partners. Corporations that get chastised by independent content creators. We're the ones doing actual journalism. We're the ones actually asking questions, analyzing things properly. The legacy media has been bought and sold. So they want to defend the legacy media and put them back on top. That's why they have Wikipedia articles, which Wikipedia is not reliable at all, underneath certain YouTube videos now to fact check. That's why Snopes was invited to fact check on Facebook. They're circling the wagons because independent content creators are destroying their corporate partners. Facebook and YouTube and all these groups, they looked at all these corporate firms that buy ads and stuff and the legacy media sites that stream on their platforms. They said this is, you know, a big chunk of money. It's not the majority of content, certainly not the majority of audience engagement, but it does bring in a lot of money. And they're getting mad at the fact that we platform independent content. So we're going to dumb it down. We're going to shove that aside and we're going to become the on-demand of the internet. That's been, Razorfist predicted that a couple of years ago. But yeah, I'll go back to chat here before we go on to other, you know, sort of topics. We'll talk more about Tommy Robinson as well. Tommy Robinson sentenced to 66 days. Yes, I've heard that. And by the way, I cannot turn off slow mode in chat. You can't change that setting once the stream has begun, I don't think. If you can, it's like it's not even worth it. Why would I want to? I want slow mode on so that I can actually read kind of what's going on. Yeah, Bitcoin will kill banks. No, but it'll gain wider and wider acceptance, and people that hold significant amounts of it will do quite well, I think. This is, again, a disclaimer. I'm not a money expert, and I'm not giving you financial advice. For some reason, you have to say that. Otherwise, you can get sued. Is the social media summit going to be live? I don't know, actually, to tell the truth. Is it going to be live streamed? It might be. I would assume, like, if Tim Pool and Bill Ottman are there, they can probably set something up to record it. Don't worry, Donald. We can handle it. According to Tommy's Telegram, it's 9 months. It might be. Well, both can be true. If they gave him time served from his prior incarceration under the same charges, it could be 66 days. Like, the charge is 9 months. But he served some of it, so it would only be 66 left. Maybe someone can confirm whether that's the case. That could be why. Or it could be just one or the other. Regardless, spending that long in prison, I'm sure a huge inconvenience. It's basically they want him to shut up. They don't want Tommy Robinson able to be out to do journalism. They don't want him to be able to report or give his opinion or defend himself. The thing is, this will probably backfire and make him more popular. Who cares? When people get deplatformed at this point, it just makes them a martyr anyway. So, you know, the British political system is stupid. 19 weeks probably out in half. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to make him serve the whole time, probably. It's not like he's going to sit there trying to misbehave in prison to elongate his sentence. Other people will probably try to, you know, misbehave. Probably the guards will have the prison gangs harass him a little bit. But I wouldn't expect him to die or get severely injured. Because then all hell breaks loose. Then he becomes a real martyr. They don't want that. They've learned that it's like with the tech firms. They've learned it's better to suppress than to ban. Like with people like me who do wrong think, like we're actually sort of with it. We get demoted. We get hidden. We don't get banned as often. They do that preferentially over banning because when someone gets banned, then part of their audience splits off the network entirely, goes to a bunch of other platforms. They do feel endangered by that, I feel. MAGA beanie, lol, Tim Pool. Yeah, it's funny how he always wears the little hat. I don't know why, actually. Any thoughts on the UK ambassador to the US being called back? Yeah, it was good. He resigned, though, I think. He wasn't fired. It's funny, the British government wouldn't do that. He had to resign. Recalled their ambassador. Well, he deserved it, considering what he's doing. You can't be the ambassador to a country and then badmouth the leader of that country. It's just, even if you don't like them or the people don't like them. Oh, Tim Pool's bald? I don't know why he would wear a beanie for that. Just, you know. Who cares? Who gives a shit? Tommy isn't racist. You can't be racist against a religion. Agreed. Absolutely. I don't think he's racist at all. And who can? Even if he is, who fucking gives a shit? What, does that mean he should go to prison? There are some people in the world that actually believe that, I think. he's going to wear his formal beanie. Okay, that's enough about Tim Pool's beanie. He's got his own live streams going, and he's you know, gonna do one later with Trump. It'd be funny if he got Trump to throw up gang signs or some crazy shit like that. I figured we would talk a little bit more in depth about Facebook, though, because that's really a companion to the social media summit. It's very interesting how Facebook does that 2 days before the summit with Trump is going to happen. Because what Facebook did, for anyone who didn't see my video this morning and hasn't seen anything else on this, Facebook in its community guidelines set up something whereby they made it clear you're not allowed to issue death threats, you're not allowed to incite violence and stuff. Like, you can't call for a mob to go to someone's house and burn it to the ground and stuff. But for some odd reason, Facebook felt it appropriate to make sure to mention that you can do that. You can literally incite violence against someone if they're on the dangerous persons list. Dangerous individuals and groups, according to Facebook standards. Mysteriously, or not so mysteriously, that's based on whether the legacy media deems a person to be extremist and hateful and stuff, or violent potentially. So a person found guilty of no crime loses all protection under Facebook's TOS under that rule. Now, some people are saying that they've simply removed that from the guidelines, but it's still a rule there. And some people are saying they rescinded it entirely. Regardless of the case, though, Facebook has incited violence against individuals. They took a discrete group, a discrete publicly identifiable group of people on their dangerous people and organizations list, and they excluded them from protection extra legally. In the United States, which is where Facebook is based, it is unlawful to incite violence against other people. I cannot come out and say, well, I think that this Zier folk over here is an asshole. My fans should go and shoot him. I can't do that. And if one of my fans does something like that, I'm legally culpable. The problem for Facebook is now this. If any of these people is attacked, they get milkshaked. If their car gets vandalized, how is Facebook going to prove that it wasn't their community standards change that caused that to happen? Whether or not the perp is ever actually identified. They could definitely have some legal problems down the road because of this. And they should. All of these people identified under that list should sue. Every single one of them for as much as they think they can possibly get. And they should hammer Facebook from all sides at the same time and force them under stress to, I mean, the amount of legal fees would be enormous. But if you have 1,000 people doing it at the same time, spreading it out, yeah, you could do that. Or class action suit or something. Get some high-powered pro. Get Michael Avenatti. Oh, wait. Haha, he's in jail because he tangled with 4chan. Yeah. That's the point. Facebook can't legally incite violence. Facebook is not a post-legal entity that's allowed to enable people to credibly threaten one another. It's blatantly against U.S. law, and Paul Joseph Watson points out against UK law, which in his case applies to him. But Facebook is in the United States. It's you know, just as stringent over here. Like I can't credibly threaten a person. I can't incite violence. I can't go out there in public and say the things that Facebook said in their TOS, their community guidelines, their terms of service. If I were to do something like that, if I were to say, well, I I deny violence, and I think it's a terrible thing. But this group of people, I think you should threaten them. You should go and attack them. You should punch a Nazi and stuff like that. No, they can't do that. It's illegal. There you go. So hopefully, yeah, I don't use Super Chat, if that's what you're referring to. Just happening to glance over here. Styx is a libertarian, not right-wing. I'm not right or left-wing. Because I agree, I mean, a libertarian is going to agree with both conservatives and liberals on certain issues. Like, I agree with and even go past most conservatives on guns and taxes. On the PC issue, both parties, both ideologies are censorious when they're in charge too long, which is why the liberals right now are trying to crack down the internet, tell people this is wrong, think you've got to dye your hair pink and put an ass plug and a chastity belt on, because they're censorious authoritarian morons. They're traitors to the Constitution. And at other times, a bunch of evangelocons have done the same thing. Well, if you criticize Jesus, you shouldn't be a citizen. Herbert Walker Bush, Republican president, conservative in the mainline sense, kind of a vague evangelical at times. He came out and said back in like the 90s that he thought that atheists shouldn't be considered patriots or citizens. There you go. Very damning statement, by the way, in retrospect for a lot of people that we've gotten past the moralist period of televangelism, thankfully. Yeah, 1,000 points of light, all lit up by fucking Jesus. And that's basically Herbert Walker. By the way, to anyone just joining, you should definitely share this link out, the link to this stream, because otherwise nobody will see it. You see, I get algorithmically demoted by YouTube. Tim Pool actually sharing an infographic on that a couple days ago, showing the discrepancy between independent and non-independent content creation as recommended videos within the politics category. The proportion over the last 6 months has differentiated drastically. It was 50-50. Now it's like 70-30 in favor of corporate content, which is why views are drying up for some people's material. For me, it's more new subscribers are drying up. Like the growth rate of the channel is slower. Views are higher than ever. It's amazing, but it's all coming from people that are already aware of the content simply because I'm making a lot of content and people are involved with it, which shows our power over the legacy media. People engage with our content. Nobody engages with CNN unless it's to tell them to fuck themselves, because it's not fun. It's sanitized Y7 rated crap. It's boring. Yeah, read my lips, no new taxes. And after he had health problems, it's read my lips. What was I saying? Styx, 1 million subs when? I would have said like 2022. Now it's probably 2030, if it ever happens. Let's face it, at some point YouTube stops growing anyway, simply because everyone who can use YouTube already has a channel. So I don't know. Oh, AOC dropped the race card on Pelosi. I can believe it. Yeah, Pelosi has come out very visibly and attacked the far left of the party. She's trying to hold things together. I don't know how wise, how great a strategy that actually is. As an operative strategy, trying to say other people in your party are not playing nice and being schismatic while you're not playing nice and being schismatic isn't a great idea. Pelosi's playing with fire right now, tangling with Cortez, because Pelosi is less popular within the Democratic Party than Cortez is. In all honesty, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is nuts. She's crazy. She's got weird views. She's never going to be like in truly high-level politics because she's not capable of governing in that sense. She's an actress more than anything else. But she smiles for the cameras. She's got a lot of youth appeal within the Dem far left, and she's got the fervency of her followers. Who's excited about Nancy fucking Pelosi? Oh, wow, I'm such a huge fan of Nancy. The last time she had any fervor behind her was at Trump's State of the Union when she clapped sideways and made it look like she was being patronizing. And they all said, yes, Queen Slay. And all those people are Cortez fans now. I don't know what Pelosi hopes to accomplish other than alienating the left within her party. He's fucking nuts. She's more nuts than AOC on that token. You should do some occult videos on Elder Scrolls like you did with RuneScape. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff in there is based on especially Norse sort of mythology. Loosely, more or less, for a reason. How do you think the dark age of censorship will end? It'll end around the time that censorship starts affecting public officials and people with a lot of money. Because the outrage mob, once it spawns, goes out of control of the people that helped spawn it. So the legacy media and the billionaires that right now are sort of holding the leash of all the far left pawns they're using to deplatform independent creators, eventually that dog gets, after eating enough content creators, gets big and strong and vicious and turns around and attacks its owner. That's really what happens. We saw this with the televangelical period as well. Say it with a hard R. Say what with a hard R? I don't know. Yeah, we'll talk briefly about Tommy Robinson as well then. Again, I can only fit so much in a title. And so without truncating everything, you know, you have to, you know. Ever visit Middletown Springs? I have been through it once or twice. It looked scenic enough, but there's really nothing there that I would be doing. I've been through like the, you know, the area south of Rutland. I've been through the area east of it more, you know, up through past Mendon and stuff like that. I've never been to the Northeast Kingdom, though, as far as I know. I've actually never been to that whole quarter of Vermont for the most part. I think the furthest up that way I've gone is Montpelier and Barrie in that area. And Vermont's not very large, but there are a lot of little windy roads and hollers, as we would call them in Upper Appalachia. Yeah. Ezra Levant explained Tommy's sentence on Rebel Media about 30 years ago. Rebel Media is hilarious. It's funny how everyone that left became more popular than Rebel Media. I think Robinson, isn't he a consultant for Rebel Media now? Which is funny. Tommy can't be in prison. They'll off him. No, they won't. They're not going to. No, trust me. They might allow him to get roughed up and harassed and verbally abused and threatened. They'll let him get all those things. The last thing the British government wants is Tommy Robinson hanging himself in a British prison cell. Last fucking thing that they want. Because then he becomes a true martyr. He'll be the face. He won't be the face of resist censorship or stand for British values. He'll be the face of riot in the streets. And that's not really what they want. Not considering the political situation is already tenuous at best in the UK. They'll make sure they'll do everything that they can to keep him from getting seriously injured. But they'll let him get abused. They'll let people harass and intimidate him in jail. Absolutely. Yeah, Tommy can look after himself. No, because they'll put him in a prison that's like 90% foreign is what they'll do. They're not going to put him in a nice prison. They're going to put him in a prison with people who politically probably think he's the devil so that he can get harassed. Have you taken your trip yet? No, not yet. Soon. Yeah, they'll have him eating nothing but halal food. Apparently, last time he was in prison, didn't he complain that he thought people were trying to like sicken him, and so he couldn't eat the food half the time? So he lost a bunch of weight. That might have just been stress related too. He might have legitimately thought that. I don't know that they would poison him, but yeah, Britain is a dumpster fire. Yeah, it is. Some real problems over there, that's for sure. But anyway, yeah, so apparently he got like 9 months, but he's not going to serve the whole thing or something like that. He'll serve 66 days. Yo, little Stixy, Ron Perlman sends his regards. How are your cats doing? They're fine. Lazy as fuck, though, in this weather because it's humid and hot right now. Actually, the reason why I'm doing this stream so early is because of weather. It's going to be even hotter later, number one. And number two, that heat and humidity is going to spawn thunderstorms. And I don't really like to be, you know, I don't like to have the computers hooked up and stuff during storms. I don't really want everything getting fried if possible. So I disconnect, you know, the Alienware at least. So no chance of damage. Brain surgery. I'm just reading chat for anyone not aware of that, of why I'm being quiet. He lived on tins of tuna. Yeah, I'm not surprised. But he can make it 66 days on an all tuna diet. It's just the shitting will be a little bit interesting. You should make sure to smuggle in something and record that and plop it on BitChute. Plop. I I'm being flippant. I know it's not something to be flippant about. I mean, Robinson doesn't deserve to serve even a day in jail. If anything, they should pay him reparations for harassing him in the first place for doing his job as a journalist. The idea that a judge should be able to hold you in contempt of court for ignoring, bullshit laws. I don't know. Do you think Rand Paul will ever become president? No, but I think he'd be a good one. Although his demeanor, sometimes when he's under stress, he gets a little fiery. Like he has a short fuse, I think, when he's antagonized. That might not be the best fit. Everything else I like about Rand for the most part. Gab or Mines, both, and Parler, and every other, and BitChute, and every other alt tech platform I can field. Crenshaw 2024. Crenshaw doesn't understand the tech issue either. He thinks that it's a partisan issue too. Thoughts on fasting from Nurgle of Babylon. You can fast if you want to. I don't see it as a spiritual thing. It can be healthy, I guess, in small amounts. People should do what they want. You don't want to eat for a couple days, go ahead and don't eat. Yeah, put on underwear. Never. I'm just going to wear a plastic bag over my ass. That's an awful lot of questions in here. Just a recap for anyone just joining, and you can share out the link if you'd like. I'm doing a little bit of Q&A here. First and foremost, and this pisses me off, Ben Garrison getting disinvited to the social media summit for today. I think that's a terrible thing to do, and the Trump admin bent before the sort of pressure being put on it by Slate and Vox and HuffPost and all these other groups, saying Ben Garrison was anti-Semitic, which he's clearly not, based on an ADL cartoon that they take out of context because it's actually an altered, a shooped version of a Ben Garrison cartoon. It's one of the 4chan shoops of it. Then also Facebook, basically inviting people to incite violence on the site before very quickly removing that new idea. Unfortunately, they're still probably left open to a lot of lawsuits. Thank goodness. Hopefully it drives them out of business. Hopefully Muckerberg there has to pay hundreds of billions out and has to sell Facebook stock. That'd be funny. Hopefully it collapses their stock value and Facebook becomes insolvent or something. He has to sell more user data to the Chinese. And then also Tommy Robinson will serve time in prison, but it's not that much, 66 days. My prediction, he will not be killed in prison. However, he will be harassed. He will be intimidated. He'll probably get beaten up at least once. They'll do everything they can to try to silence him. They'll make his life living hell in there, but they're not going to kill him. And he should take solace in that if he gets killed, I mean, he becomes the ultimate political martyr of modern British history. So, I don't think that that'll happen. They don't want 1 million Tommy Robinson fans to riot in the streets and burn cars and stuff. People would take the law into their own hands at that point. And in that case, it might be justified if people do such a thing, if they're living in that big of tyranny. It's just like we sit back, like especially from here in the United States, we look at like some uprising in the Middle East against an authoritarian regime, or like the uprising against Maduro or something, and we cheer it on and say, well, yeah, it's removing tyranny. What about the UK? They're clearly under tyranny, where a judge can tell journalists they can't even report on a case, and then they throw someone in jail opportunistically when they ignore that. Yeah, that's tyranny. It's authoritarianism. It's improper for a Western civilized country. Thoughts on the elections in Canada? I haven't been paying close attention to the Canadian politics lately. I probably should. Isn't Trudeau probably on his way out? Hopefully. Be really funny. See Fidel Castro's illegitimate offspring kicked out of office. Oh, Elizabeth Warren wants to prosecute white nationalism. Well, I mean, that's unconstitutional, so it wouldn't happen. Ebola updates, please. I'll make sure to look up Ebola news tomorrow, and I'll cover that if there's anything new. I'll do that now, just for everyone's benefit. I'll look up Ebola. Ebola. By the way, that Ebola rat video from I think it was Gone or something is funny. Merck's Ebola vaccine helps combat deadly outbreak in the Congo as the virus spreads. How do you fucking know that it's the vaccine without the benefit of reading the article? Oh, here. Oh, the Washington Post saying something true. It's time to declare a public health emergency on Ebola. No shit. The time was 2 months ago. Okay, apparently the Ebola vaccine has proven at least somewhat effective. That's good. That's definitely good. It's just a matter of managing to suppress Ebola before it mutates. And if it mutates the right way, then you have to make a new fucking vaccine. That's the whole big problem of mutation in viruses. Yeah, well, I guess we've got mainly good news about Ebola. It looks like at least now they've got a working treatment for it. Do you have sugar in your coffee? I didn't add sugar, but I did add some of a Monster, Java Monster, like the Mean Bean stuff, because it ran out of milk, so I had to put a splash of that in instead, because I do like milk or cream in my coffee. Not a lot of it, but some. So I just used that instead. Tastes pretty good. Airborne Ebola. Well, Ebola's short distance, it's already airborne. The main way in which it spreads person to person is through droplets. But when we say airborne is a little bit different. It's like not just spread by droplets. It's like the virus can survive outside of the human body long enough to infect a surface, to infect the air around a person beyond the droplets, which quickly settle out. The other mutant of Ebola, I believe one of the reasons it became more transmissible was specifically it was a bit more durable, if I remember correctly, and so it could persist on surfaces longer. It's not airborne, but it's having higher durability helped it. I believe so, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Angela Merkel. That's a good subject to talk about. I don't know specifically, like I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose Angela Merkel, but it's clear she's sick. My best guess is she's an alcoholic and she's getting delirium tremens. But again, it could be Parkinson's. It could be she's got some sort of minor seizure disorder. It could be that she's just demented and forgets to drink water. The first time she got the shakes, they said, oh, she forgot to drink water. She got dehydrated, a little heat stroke. Yeah, heat stroke in Germany, kind of hard to get. There's not a lot of heat there. They had a heat wave in Northern Europe weeks ago, but I mean, I don't think there's one happening right now to justify this happening for the third time in a month. It seems to me there's something deeper wrong with her. And I would guess if I had to bet money on what it would be the DTs. That she's a long-term alcoholic. She's gotten to that point. She's shot her liver up and she's having mental problems. That's my guess. Could be totally wrong. It's clear she's not healthy, though. Rumors say she drinks blood. She's got the hippie shakes. Adrenochrome deficiency. Yeah, adrenochrome is the new joke in the wake of the Epstein stuff, like people like cracking children's skulls open and drinking their brain fluid, I guess. You never know. So I mean, we had Elizabeth Bathory and stuff like that. I'm sure that there are some sickos that do weird shit like that. There's got to be some people that do. Yeah, people are saying she has kuru from cannibalism. I don't think that's likely. I can't see Angela Merkel actually eating baby brains. And also that probably wouldn't cause kuru because the way prions work, the older the brain is, the more likely you're going to have a problem. If you're doing it with babies like Angela Merkel's, I guess, according to some supposedly does, I don't think you would get prions from that, actually. Prions typically, a lot of times as people age, they're going to have some prions. There's degeneration of the brain proteins. What happens is a brain protein, for some reason, misfolds in such a way that when it contacts another brain protein, it misfolds that. It becomes replicative. It becomes able to replicate itself. Mad cow does this. Gets into your brain, the prions. Now, sometimes a prion forms, it degrades and is destroyed before it can cause any further problems. So, but if you're constantly eating brain matter, And cooking does not really, so unless you're charring it totally black, the cooking's not going to remove the prions, sadly, which is why you should never eat any form of brain or spinal material of any kind. You can get prions from it, unfortunately, and then you get, basically years later, you're demented. Probably drinks, packs, and rolls her own smokes. Yeah, I can imagine Angela Merkel, she comes to the United States, she's like, man, I need to try a pack of fucking Lucky Strikes, man. I don't know. Back when I was smoking, and this was years ago. By the way, to anyone, don't socially smoke. Don't try smoking. It's stupid. I smoked for like 4 years. I was always sort of into Crowns because they were cheap, and then later on when I had a bit more money, Marlboros. Not because I'm a Marlboro man, I'm cool. It wasn't that. It was just they happened to taste better to me. I liked Winston's for a while, Winston Golds. But I quit smoking as of the October before last, so it's been like a year and a half now. So I'm never going back to it because it's a waste of money. Yeah, well, here's what I want to do. I want to suck down that tobacco and die of lung cancer. I want it to be painful when I die because I'm masochistic. It's basically what it is. If you're a smoker, the best thing you can do when you're trying to quit is stay busy constantly. Fucking drive yourself into, do what I did. I got addicted to work. I became a workaholic when I quit smoking, which helped me become more successful. And I didn't need smoking because I wasn't under as much fiscal stress either, so it helped. It sort of became a positive feedback spiral of some sort. I'm glad I quit. Yeah, people talk about cigars. I don't want them either. I don't want any tobacco. What is the best state to live in? The best place to live is wherever you yourself feel is sort of with it. Like you'll be able to make that determination. For me, I like Vermont. I'd be lying if I said that there wasn't a big part of me that was just very used to it. I like New Hampshire a lot. I do like Texas, both East and Southern Texas. It's weird because there are so many different places that have so many different positives about living there. That's like, I wish I could just travel like weather-wise. I wish I could spend a few months each winter in a warmer climate. But I do like northern New England. There is something about the culture up here that I do like a lot. It's rural. I'm sort of used to the way people work here. I'm sort of used to the lay of the land. I'm used to the Rutland area. So, Some smoke pole. Yeah, some people do. Be funny if some dude was like, he's into masochism. He's like, okay, I want you to drill a hole in the back of my cock, fill it with pot, and I want you to smoke through my urethra. I bet anything that there are people that have done stuff like that. I want you to turn my asshole into a bong. Put the stem in the side there. Here's your carb. Smoke my asshole. I vape my weed now. Yeah, I gave up weed 2 years and years ago. Anyone who hasn't heard of it, docking? Yeah, look up docking sometime if you really want to have your stomach turn a little bit. It'd be really funny. Or blue waffle. I didn't actually say that, though. I'm not encouraging you to Google that if you don't know what I'm talking about. I always thought Bowl Girl was the worst, though. Seriously, unless you have an extremely strong stomach, it is not a good idea to try to watch Bowl Girl. That's the only one that ever made me a little bit queasy. Like the chewing sound she makes towards the end is like, ugh. Getting weird, Styx. Oh, I'm like Vice News says, I was desensitized by 4chan, and now no, Styx, no. Lemon Party wasn't that bad. That one was just, it's a little weird. That's like the one with the picture of the parrot sitting on the dude's cock. It's like, okay, it's quirky and weird, but it's not disgusting. Just weird. Internet Explorer, search ready. Yeah. The Pounder was funny. That was, for anyone who doesn't know, I'll tell you about this. And the Pounder was funny because they had music in the background. I can't remember what it was. It was a dude hitting his cock with a rubber mallet, and he was just like pounding it like this. And it was on loop, like a GIF image of that with a background music. There was another one where a dude was shoving a dildo inside, obviously. So No, those things were funny at the time. Most of them don't exist anymore. They should. They should. Somebody should re-up all that stuff and, you know, troll a whole new generation. Duck, duck, ew. Never heard of that one, or maybe you're making a joke. I actually saw the one with the goat. Yeah, that one was weird. Talk about stereotypes. All right, we're getting way off political topics here. The funny part is you can talk about people like docking and weird shit like that. Nobody cares. But if you make one slightly off-color joke that's like has anything to do with like ethnicity or gender or something, you get banned cross-platform forever, you know, and ever on every platform in the world. Resurrect it to the comment section of CNN Twitter. You probably could do that if you used a tiny URL or something. What is it, Moo URL and some of these other sites? Yeah, violence is fine unless it's war footage. Like if you post war footage in an effort to say like, you know, we shouldn't fight because war is dumb and look at these blown up children, you get banned. But if you post like videos of well, here's me punching a Nazi, like a month later, it's still there. You're getting calls from CNN probably. Did you add the Google watermark to the top left? No, I don't have to. Google does that. It's because this is through Hangouts. By the way, Google, again, and I've got to tell people this, you need to join me on the alt tech platforms, especially BitChute, which is branching out into live streaming. YouTube has already stated that it's going to disable Google Hangouts with multi-person calls, which means during the election, if it happens before then, and I believe it will, I think it's slated for later this year, I will not be able to do my election live stream on YouTube. It's likely that they won't have Hangouts at all by that time. They're speculating that that'll be removed altogether. If it's only just not multi-person, I guess I can set up other software to split the screen and have another person on there. But it's too much work. It would be so much easier to just have BitChute and live stream there. And it's like, you know, it's going to be just as stable. In fact, it'll be more stable since it's P2P. So there won't be any lag probably with thousands of people watching. Be great. Have you tried Jitsi Meet? It's a great alt tech Hangouts alternative. No, I haven't. I'll look into it. Yeah, if YouTube gets rid of Hangouts, and they're also talking about maybe they'll get rid of like comments or something by default. What's there on YouTube is I can post videos, but that's all I'll be able to do. I won't be able to interact with anyone. They've already taken messages away. I don't know. I wish YouTube would go back in the other direction. I know that DLive exists. I don't know. I haven't tried them, though. Josh Bernstein says that Epstein is a trap for Trump. No, I think the opposite. I think considering Pelosi's daughter's statement on the on the topic, and the fact that Trump never went to his island, I would say that Trump is going to come out just fine. I don't think Trump did anything perverted. The fact that all the damage control shills immediately came out to talk about, oh, look, Epstein, Trump's lifelong friend, Trump's good friend, the pedophile, it was a little bit over the top. It seems more like a shilling brigading attempt than something organic. I don't think that it was just the generic never Trump masses causing that to happen and spread all over the world. Yeah. Yeah, no comments by YouTube. There are a lot of people who would, I think, leave YouTube. I mean, I pay attention to certain live streams, right-wing broadcasting, theirs. Some like spiritual shows, actually. It's funny, even like evangelicals and stuff. Sometimes I'll just turn that on and listen to them rant for a couple hours while I'm working. You know, it can be fun. It's funny to sit there and make wisecrack one-liners at religious people when they're live streaming. Like, it's really fun. You should try it sometime. It's like the thing with the right-wing broadcasting group there is I'll go on there and I'll talk about, you know, lizard rock. Like the joke was that I made a joke that the rock song they were playing once sounded like the theme song of a bunch of geckos shitting or something. And I was just shit posting. I got banned. And then I took to Twitter and I said people should go and fight this. And then people started spoon clanking in the comments. And then they were like, they didn't have a problem with me. And they're like, oh, yeah, you know, we didn't realize we were just joking. It was very, very funny. And so I watch them sometimes. I like their broadcast. But I still, wherever I am, I must shitpost. It's just the way that I am. Men getting tired of wanking. Yeah. Isn't Rouge pretending now to be like a reformed individual? And now you've hit the wall. Now you want to settle down. It's like exactly what's said about like women by the MiG towers is basically the story, and it's so funny. I don't have a problem with the dude. He's funny. The Young Turks was epic. Yeah, I remember when the Young Turks were getting spoon clanked on. That was really funny. Yeah, I hope that happens more often. I love it when the Young Turks get laid waste too. What do you think about Marianne Williamson reposting an evangel? Oh, she did? I didn't know that. Marianne Williamson, by the way, to anyone who doesn't know, and that's probably most of you, she is the hippie mother of the Democratic field. She's sort of like the older Gen X lady that like, she rediscovered psychedelic rock when the internet was young, and she's I guess she doesn't like chemtrails and she wants GMO labeling, and she's a green mother. And so her kids, if she has any, I'm not sure, when she sends them to school, I'm sure they get vegan sushi without the, it's without the fish, of course, and like, organic, stuff, and it's probably really for kombucha in their lunch pail. It must be great. She seems like a far out woman. Like she's probably, I'd be hilarious to have a conversation with her. She's one of the more likable in the field. In fact, she might be the most likable. She and like Gabbard or something. Whereas all the front runners, they're all boring and old, or they're like fucked up in some way. You look at like Claude Bouchard supposedly throws stuff at people. I know she's not a front runner, but it's a personality quirk. Yang says weird shit, can't explain himself. Sanders is like a no-show at this point. Biden, he's Joe Biden, let's say no more. Elizabeth Warren is like the waspish, mean old grandma, she's your mean old aunt. And then what's her name? Kamala Harris is like, she's the overzealous prosecutor trying to make a name for herself. And Buttigieg, he sort of takes side swipes at people, even though he's like at least sane. He's like, of the top 5, he's the only one I could see. Like, I could probably communicate with him and stand it, whereas I probably couldn't stand communicating with any of the other front runners. But I'd say Williamson, Gabbard, a few of the others, they're at least personable. Be funny to talk to. Oh yeah, I can imagine her trying to explain dowsing or something. I imagine her house has like dowsing rods to close the energy channels to prevent cancer, stuff like that. And here's my feel good altar. It's a picture of John Lennon, and here's my Jimi Hendrix shrine in the garden. It's all heirloom varieties, by the way. I can sort of respect some of that. Like, I like organic and non-GMO stuff, and I like nature and things like that. But I mean, some people that go a little bit far, and it's like, you're not even really living your life at that point. Nasty, bitter old librarian Warren. Yeah. If she were playing a president, she would play the villainous president. She'd play the corrupt president who's doing bad things and has to get taken down by like the CIA or something, by some rogue agency. That's what Warren would play. And Kamala Harris would play the corrupt president who's just like has a stick up her ass about the little people and wants to put them all in jail. Biden would play sort of the general average sort of drama president. Like, he would be believable because he's been vice president. He's got his own personality problems maybe, but he normal generally. Buttigieg, I think he would be like the young JFK-ish president. I'm not saying that he'd be a good president like JFK. I'm just saying he would be portrayed that way. And Sanders would be the president that's got dementia and other people have to clean up his messes. I mean, if they were casting, he would be the one that's in a comedy. He'd be the comedy president. He'd be like if Naked Gun, sort of thing happened. By the way, Naked Gun, excellent movie. What was it? Naked Gun 2.5 was the other one. Then they had the same dude. He played in which scary movie was it? The third one with the aliens. I can't remember what movie they were lampooning maybe in that one. I remember number 2 was hilarious. The one where the weed plant rolls and smokes the Rastafarian dude. That was like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Yeah, again, getting way off politics is a topic. Police Squad, yeah. Signs, yeah, Signs was the movie, I remember. I think I saw part of that, and it's like fucking so boring. I liked The Ring, though. That one was weird. The Grudge was nuts. I remember the one part where the girl in The Grudge is in the bus there, and there's the old dude looking at her and saying weird shit over and over. And that was like, at the time I was high watching it, of course, because that was years ago. I laughed for an hour. It was the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And it's not even supposed to be funny. It was supposed to be creepy. It just came off funny. Airplane, yes. Yes. No, Scary Movie 3 was good, but Scary Movie 2 was also exceptionally good. Silent Hill was good. Now we're getting off into movies. Oh, favorite meme. That's a tough one. The Ron Perlman Yo Little Donnie meme is up there, and Andy Six Logs is up there. Those two mainly because they piss people off when they're posted. But I think Dolan Duck is still my all-time favorite because it doesn't make any sense at all. And all the spin-offs, like there was that one poorly drawn one from Breaking Bad, and someone was doing poorly drawn comics of that, and then it just sort of took off, and it was like, it's like, what the fuck? And so the whole point is it's a mimicry of actual bad memes, purposely made even worse and more incoherent. And the fact that it pisses people off is why it's funny. I just find stuff like that funny. I was thinking, because I was going to talk about this actually in brief, now that I'm on the subject. I was talking last night about Devil's Rejects, and apparently a lot of people didn't like the movie. Like, well, it's all very one-dimensional, really over the top. I fucking love Rob Zombie's sense of humor, though. And here's the thing. It's almost a kindred spirit thing. I think what he was trying to do with, like, the chicken fucker scene and stuff, he purposely meanders off of the subject, leaves it all behind and throws something in there that's disturbing and to him funny. And I can just imagine him randomly thinking about weird shit while he's shitting or trying to go to sleep and bursting out laughing. And so he builds chunks of his movies and stuff around that. And the whole goal is to confuse people and make them scratch their heads and be like, what the fuck? Because that reaction to him, I think, is hilarious. I have the same thing with Sickness and Hell. I purposely go off kilter, off into Never Land, basically, and start talking about random weird shit in the book. Specifically, when I was doing that, when I was writing it, I was laughing about people's reactions. The whole goal is to confuse and to make people disturbed. It's to disappoint them, to make them say, wow, this sucks, because it's funny. It's actually, the reaction is the humor. Hotep, Jesus. Hotep Ben told you. Oh, hey, Styx is live. Yes. What do you think of esports? I don't like sports. I don't fucking care about sports one way or the other. The only reason that I keep up with football to a very limited degree is that, you know, around the Super Bowl, I have to get on the sports page on 4chan and troll. And so I'll pretend to be a fan of the winning team or the losing team just to say random off-the-wall shit. And it pisses people off. And that's, again, it's funny to piss people off. It's all point of humor, to be taboo and edgy and stuff. Otherwise, you're just doing dad jokes. There's nothing funny about dad jokes, unless you're being ironic. It's like when I posted the socialism beer meme last night. Some people are like, "Oh, you're being a boomer." The whole point of it is to mock the dad joke side of memes. It's the fucking point, and it goes over people's heads, and it's hilarious. Tom also died. What Tom? What, MySpace Tom? Someone named Tom died? Is this a major, this is the first time seeing about anything. What Tom? MySpace Tom? He died? I'm calling bullshit. No, actor ripped. Oh, okay. I don't know. Rip Torn. I thought, yeah, well, yeah, Tom Petty died. That was years ago. I was extremely upset when Tom Petty died. Yeah. I just know that my confusion is going to become a meme. The worst thing about live streaming is, you know, you don't get something in chat and out of context, it becomes even funnier. Yeah, Boogie. I know the Rip Boogie meme. That one's an old one. Didn't he lose a bunch of weight or some shit? I think. Wasn't he like morbidly obese, and then finally they're like, you know, fuck, you need gastric bypass or something? And if the dude's cleaning himself up and getting, you know, healthier-ish, it's to his credit, I suppose. Milo wants to get everyone banned to accelerate the collapse. I oppose accelerationism. the idea of it is dumb. You don't need accelerationism. These moral panics kill themselves anyway. All you've got to do is sort of hold on and ride it out. It's happened over and over. It's this Satanic Panic, sort of the video game grunge rock panic of the 90s, early 2000s. Eminem definitely fits in with their early rap, or early rap as the suburbanites would term it. Stuff like that. Red Scare era, the hippies, the anti-war sentiment, they all die out. Don't worry about moral panics. Just fucking do what you need to do. Mind your, preferably, keep speaking. The only way to defend free speech is to speak. So that's, all you have to do. Do you shave your balls? No. I would rather my genitals not look like a diseased vulture. Be terrible. Yeah, Ross Perot died, which is sad. Ross Perot is a cool dude. Apparently, and this was something I speculated, and then it was confirmed the next day by Fox. He did donate to the Trump campaign, actually, before he died. So I'm not surprised. Yeah. What do you think about the ghetto? I've been in the ghetto before, lived in one for a while. We're talking like east side of Tampa, deep extreme ghetto. But I was raised I'm basically white trash, I've been very poor most of my life. Until the last couple of years, I was dirt poor, basically. That's why I can sit there and eat a piece of toast with some like fucking American cheese and pepperoni melted on top, and it's like that's normal to me. It's sort of what I'm used to. Not Spam. Never ate Spam though. But ramen soup, yeah. Ramen soup existence, It's funny because some people think I'm like bored of my white privilege or something. Oh, goodness. Trade places with me, Kamala Harris. But trade bank accounts with me from 5 years ago, please. Be very, very funny. Again, what's inside those jars? The teeth of your enemies? No. Chamomile tea with little napkins to control moisture. By the way, it smells a little bit bready. Like this, like just general, like dried, bready sort of material. It's a weird smell. But if you parse it open, it smells just like fresh chamomile. It's got that sort of chamomile tang to it. It tastes so much better than the shit that you get in stores. It's also way, way more strong. It's pretty good stuff. Trust me, it'll make your head swim a little bit if you drink like, I typically double strength my tea, regardless of what kind of tea it is. Unless it's green, then it's okay. Like in a Chinese restaurant or something. Usually I put in twice as much tea material. If you do that with this, you will literally get woozy. It's that powerful a sedative. I never knew that chamomile was that powerful if it's fresh or nearly fresh like mine. Do you watch anime? No. I liked the Slayers back in the day. Like back when I saw it on demand, they used to have HBO on demand. Used to have everything. They had like they had the real sex programs as well. And here I am. I'm not quite 18, and they've got hardcore porn on demand. Naturally, I had a good time. Yeah, some of it was weird, but it's all good. But they had the anime. They had independent, like the Sundance sort of stuff. Sometimes they had weird artistic short films, and then they also had like. Heavy was making content. So they had like Hard Drinkin' Lincoln. They had what was it? Celebrity Deathmatch. The claymation one that was on there. That's a MTV, I think. They had that amalgamated. What else did they have? They had one. There was one where they would have like flash animated celebrities saying weird shit in the back of a limo, and I can't remember the name of it. It was the same. It was Icebox, I think, that did those. And then they also had Behind the Music That Sucks, which was a parody of VH1's Behind the Music. They had the uncensored versions, which were hilarious. The only ones you can find on YouTube are the censored ones, and they suck because they've shortened them. They've taken out half the jokes. They even blur guns. Like the Ted Nugent one's almost unwatchable. They blur the gun that's on. It's like, why do you need to blur that out? Doesn't even make sense. They won't even let him say fuck. It's like you're on YouTube. You can say fuck. You can show firearms. Don't worry. Put on the uncensored versions if you want to make me happy. Somebody, if you happen to have Behind the Music That Sucks, plop those on fucking YouTube, the uncensored ones. I'm not going to get banned for that. Will you drink vodka with me in Eastern Europe? I've quit drinking, so no. Don't think I don't appreciate the sentiment, though. No, I'll go out with Williamson. I'll fucking drink a kombucha. I'll drink some raw eggs. I did that once. It's not as bad as you'd think. For anyone who's never, sort of shot down a raw egg, it tastes like protein mix. It just tastes exactly the same as like protein powder that athletes drink. To say it even feels a little similar, kind of gritty a little bit, ironically, even though it's an egg, it's slimy. It leaves a gritty sort of flavor in your mouth, if that makes any sense. Drink a near beer. Yeah, raw eggs aren't that bad. Do weed and no drink. When did you start to transition? I don't use weed. I haven't used marijuana in like 6 or 7 years. I haven't used any drugs. I've been drinking heavily for a while. I've quit that, so now it's just caffeine and chamomile, basically. I know that might make me lame, but I'll live longer. I'll live a lamer life, but I'll still be here when I'm 60, and I'll still be like, sane, not demented, hopefully not crippled. I found Styx through a salvia video. Yeah, I did a bunch of entheogenic videos years ago. The reason I haven't re-upped those is that YouTube's policy on drug-related content is no longer clear-cut. It used to be clear-cut. You can't show yourself doing it. You can't encourage doing it, but you can inform about it. You can show the substance if it's legal, like Morning Glory. You can show that. You can tell people about it, what's in it, dosage and stuff. Standard disclaimer applies, of course, and there's no problem. What happened is that YouTube has muddied its TOS on this and other subjects. It's not a case of them becoming more draconian. It's a case of them becoming less clear on what the rule actually is. So there's that one like Dutch channel where the people literally snort coke and take acid and stuff and then sit there high trying to describe what they're experiencing, and that's allowed. And yet independent content creators, they mention these substances and they get put in limited state and stuff. And so I'm not willing to run the risk. And I would put it like on BitChute. Originally, I was like, well, I'll just put it on BitChute and stuff. But then these companies are also blurring the lines in that sometimes they take into account stuff you're posting on other sites. They shouldn't. It's dumb that they do, but that's just the way that it is. And ultimately, I'm so less interested in entheogens and drugs and stuff now anyway. I'm not going to risk all of my very valid political and news content for a subject I really don't talk about much anymore anyway, because I don't use those substances. I'm not interested in using any drugs. I've already done them. It's like I gleaned what spirituality I could from them, and now it's time to be, sober and just think about, editing books and stuff like that. I feel more relaxed, at ease, and happy when I've got a good book that I'm editing, or when I'm doing this. It's just fun. I don't know who Nick Rekieta is, and I'm probably mispronouncing that last name. But yeah, I mean, if I get invited, if he DMs me on Twitter or something, maybe. I'm getting back into the point where I can do that stuff more, mainly because I'm sober now. It makes my schedule a bit more open. What about CBD? I don't use that either. They sell it all over the place in stores here in Vermont. It's everywhere. The co-op has it. Pharmacies have it. Walmart, I think, has CBD products now. Cannabis oil. Some extracted. It's like the part of cannabis that doesn't get you high, and it's like for seizure relief and stuff. Yeah, it's a medicinal substance. I know that, but I mean, it's still technically illegal federally. Federal government still calls you can't even grow hemp legally, but you can, but you can't get funding for it except with certain banks. It's a mess. Our drug laws make no fucking sense. They make less sense than when it was just strictly illegal on every level. Arcade's a YouTube lawyer. Yeah, that's cool. I'd rather eat raw eggs than raw fish. I actually had sushi for breakfast today. I had a rainbow roll. That's a California roll, and it's got usually salmon, tuna, and shrimp layered over on top of it in thin strips so that it's sort of multicolored. It's good. I like sushi. Micro dots or fuel for thoughts. You spelled thoughts wrong, though. Get it? Yeah. Yeah, sushi's pretty good. My favorite is eel, the freshwater eel sushi, because it's smoked and it's nice and sweet. It really goes well with the rice. I like the smoky flavor. What food don't you like? I don't like, there's a dish from Eastern Europe, and I'm not even 100% sure what's in it. It's called runza, and it's like tomato and cabbage and stuff inside of breading. And it just, I don't like it. The tomato is too drippy, and it's kind of acidic and has a weird cheesy acid aftertaste. It's got everything in it that I like. I love cabbage. I like tomatoey, cheesy foods. I like, you know, sort of wholesome breads. Together, though, I hate runza. I'm not a big fan of quiche. I don't like quiche. And people are like, always like, oh, if you had it right, you would like it. Well, I've had it a dozen different ways, and I've never really liked it. I like a frittata better, preferably more potatoey. Let's see, what other foods? No, I'm not very picky with regards to eating. I haven't ever had a lot of foods that I don't like. No, that's pretty much, well, I don't like persimmons. I tried a persimmon once and fucking hated it. I hate persimmons. I can understand why you can't find them in the stores, because, I mean, who would want to eat them? Doesn't make any sense. Oh, and guava. Guava fruit. I had one of those one time, and it tasted weird. It had this weird off-putting aftertaste to it. I just didn't like it. It wasn't terrible, but I wouldn't eat it again. Which is funny, because guava juice, like added to a fruit cocktail, that's good. But on its own, no, count me out. What do persimmons taste like? It's very hard to describe, but the aftertaste was so bitter and disgusting. I got like a peanut butter cookie, and I was like trying to grind it against the surface of my mouth and tongue to get rid of the flavor of the persimmon. It was that bad. It was like I was almost gagging. Tuna casserole. Good morning, ladies. Oh, God. I know that joke. Wasn't that, that was that song by, what band was it? The one that did Because I Got High, I think, if I remember correctly. Is that one where they just talk about fucking the whole time, if I remember correctly? That's probably, is that where you got that reference? I know it's an old joke, but, you know, for this generation anyway. Chalky and bitter. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe the persimmon wasn't ripe, but I wouldn't know how to figure out whether it was ripe or not, so. Afro Man, yeah. Yeah, that was great. I remember when Because I Got High came out. That was a mini moral panic all in and of itself. I remember Mad lampooned that, and they had because the California Supreme Court wouldn't legalize marijuana, and it was basically the lyrics. They changed it around to like make fun of that fact. Can't legalize high, won't legalize high. We don't want them high. And it was talking about like letting the sick like keel over and stuff like that, and how funny it was. It's pretty great. Dehydrate the tomatoes and spinach quiche. Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. I can eat it. It's just I don't like quiche. I wouldn't choose to eat it if there were any other option, and there always are. So like if I were starving under an overpass and somebody throws me a piece of quiche, I'll eat it, but you know, I'd flip them off at the same time. I'm just joking. But it was funny because actually today there was somebody that was outside of one of the stores I went to earlier, was holding up the sort of the, you know, I need help, I'm homeless sign, and was sitting there, you know, next to the road. And I do have compassion for the homeless. And around here, a lot of it is, you know, mental illness. Someone can't deal with society. So they have like an encampment, I think, behind the train yards and stuff. And like, I feel sorry for anyone who's, you know, out of house and home, so to speak. But I was there, and you know, I don't really carry cash often. There's no way I can give him anything anyway, because I use my card. And I was always pulling out. I heard him mumble, "Fuck you," or something like that. I'm like, you know, I'm driving off, so obviously I'm not going to respond. But I'm like, you know, you don't know anything about me. How do you know that I'm not one step from homelessness? And you dare to fucking say that to me? Fuck you. I know what it's like to be a step from homelessness. Trust me. Yeah. One time when I was at UVM, when I was long story, I won't even bother to tell it. I was kind of semi-estranged from my family. I was on the verge of being homeless for spring break at the time. I was actually seriously making contingencies. I'm like, I don't even know where there's a homeless shelter because I'm so antisocial. I wouldn't even go to one. Maybe I should just go out in the woods and build a lean-to. And here it is. It's like, what was it, late February or something. I'm like, well, I can probably survive for a couple weeks. I'll just make sure to bring all the clothes and bedding, and I'll sort of make a little nest out of it in a lean-to. It'll keep the snow off. And it's not that cold. You know, it's in the 30s at night, at least by now. I was seriously considering that. And I probably wouldn't have died. I probably would have survived. I guess I could have gone around begging or something to please help. Give me 25 cents so I can buy a hamburger or something. Now, if that were to happen, I'd make a YouTube video and say, hey, anyone want a bunkmate? Yeah, it'll be like 5 other people with me and like 6 cats, but you know, that'd be so fucking funny. I wouldn't do that, but you know. Yeah, the other thing is, of course, you know, if I had like, you know, a burger or something with me, I'd say, here, you know, have lunch. But, you know, if you're going to badmouth me, you know, just because I drive by, look, a million other people are going to do that today. You better get used to it. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't have any money to give you. And also, you know, I could reach out the door also, and the person could fucking pull out a knife and threaten me and try to carjack me. How the fuck am I supposed to know? You know, I don't know what's going on. How do I know that you're even homeless? I don't know that for a fact. How do you take your burritos? I actually really like the regular microwavable burritos, like the chimichangas and stuff. I don't eat them often because they're terrible for you. Like, it's just preservatives basically. But once in a while, yeah, I'll just microwave something like that. Yeah. Anyway, I think shit, am I going on like an hour and a half or something here? I feel like this has been longer than most of the live streams. It's totally gotten off topic. At this point, this is just me rambling about random shit, like politics be damned, I suppose. Oh, will you ever learn how to ride a bike? No, I'm not going to bother. When am I going to need to? In the post-apocalyptic world, I'd rather walk anyway, because I'm the one who's just going to smash my way through the zombies with an axe or shoot them or something. I'm not going to try to bike away from them. Plus, then, if you've ever watched zombie movies, you know, I will hit a tree root, fall down, get injured enough so the zombies will kill me. But if I'm on foot, then I can fend them off, you know, and kill the zombies, hopefully. You know, as long as you're careful, you watch your 6 and you make sure that you don't get like backed into a corner, you can do that. Plus, zombies can't move very quickly, so yeah, it's okay. And if there's a communist uprising, most of them are wheelchair bound, it seems. So, you know, I'll just walk away from them. No problem. Once their motor scooter runs out of juice, then the communist revolution will be over. Once they run out of fucking Starbucks. Do you play Age of Empires? Yeah, I was an Age of Empires player early on. I also liked Age of Empires 2. I never played 3, but I did play Empire Earth, which was, in my opinion, the superior spin-off to Age of Empires. Story mode, less well-developed, ultimately. But as far as being able to, like, you know, generate a random map, play the base game, and like, fight the other civilization or civilizations, it was more in-depth. Like, with only 2 players, you could field, I think it was 800 units or 600 units or something. With Age of Empires, the initial is 50, and with AoE 2, it was like 75. This one, the maps were a lot bigger. There was a lot more terrain differences, a lot more settings. Command and Conquer was a good game. I liked a lot of that stuff. I had trouble with Command and Conquer at some points, mainly because I was a lot younger when I was playing that. I didn't understand the strategy of gaining resources before building a bunch of troops and attacking the enemy. That was a little bit more, a little bit beyond me at the time. Age of Empires Ebola. No, but you could release the plague if you had the Pope or certain other characters in Empire Earth. You could infect the problem is, if you infected the enemy with plague and you did it before distance fighting was common, like with tanks and stuff, the enemy, you know, they would come in to attack you, and if you won, you had the plague too. So it was kind of pointless. The only thing was, you'd send the Pope out, or your prophet or priest or whatever, give the enemy city the plague, sacrifice him, and then hope the enemy doesn't attack you while they've got the plague. Because it would just grind them down, basically, economically. Because they had to expend resources in order to heal. I never played StarCraft or Age of Mythology. Civilization 5 I've heard good things about. I can't wait until the totally next generation of gaming. I'm more into open world games at this point. Like, I really want to play Red Dead Redemption 2, but they don't have it on PC, and it's like, why? Oh, yeah, we're going to take half of the gaming world, and we're not even going to give you a version of the game. Why? Oh, you might use console commands or something, or mod the game, I guess. How terrible. I've played Skyrim. I like it. Yeah, I like open world. I like Bethesda as a company anyway. I'm not a fanboy, but dude, people took a shit on Fallout 4. It's a good game. It only needs a few mods for the loading screens and for some of the textures, and it's a great game. It goes from a good game to a great game with only a few modifications. I understand Bethesda has a habit of not really fully finishing things, but that's the thing. Because we're in the age of PC gaming, people just mod it anyway. It's not a problem. It really isn't. It's nice to be able, it's nice that they're one of the companies that doesn't care if you do that too. And they're like, oh, no, people are going to continue playing our game for years and years because they'll just keep modifying it. It'll be like a new game. Less effort for us. We're making the same amount of money. It's a good thing. Yeah, I like that approach. I don't mind if there are some glitches in a game anyway. It'll get patched by individuals. Yeah, I do PC gaming. I used to be strictly a PlayStation person. Like when I was little, it's like Nintendo, but then I had testosterone. And then I switched to PlayStation naturally. And because PlayStation had the more adult gaming lines, like Nintendo is like totally kid mode at this point anyway, kid mode and mobile. PlayStation's more like adults. And then PC is like basically everything. I remember first time playing Fallout 3, I was like, wow, this is pretty great. Or Ratchet and Clank. I did play Ratchet and Clank a few times. I never really got into that one, I think. Yeah. Now everyone's just talking about games. We've gone from like shock sites, from politics and tech news to shock sites to what were we talking, movies and shit, and now to gaming. VR chat sticks with an anime girl avatar. Yeah, I'm sure that there are people who would definitely enjoy that. Ironically, like unironically, would enjoy that. It'd make me feel a little uncomfortable, though. I'm not sure my significant other would enjoy that. Yes, I'm going to be the half-naked anime girl, and I'm just going to go chat for a few hours. Don't mind the noises you hear from the office. Got your occult philosophy with modern age, great stuff. Which occult book of yours would you say is mandatory reading? That one, if you're getting one that I wrote. Fruits of Eden would be the other one. Fruits of Eden, Herbalism and the Occult. I will be releasing a new version of that in the future. I've got to get a couple of short herbals that my illustrator's working on. A Manly Hall work, the work I'm on right now, those need to be done first. And then I might as well take a break from the editing side of things to rework a couple of my own titles. Occult Philosophy for the Modern Age will be one of them. Fruits of Eden, it needs not new illustrations, but a new format. I use a new format now that's totally different. Yeah. Selling your, oh, it's just started to rain. I'll probably go off then in a minute because I don't want the computer to get fried by lightning. That wouldn't be good. I think that'd be expensive. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. To people saying that I should sell my bath water. That would be, trust me, hilarious. I don't think so, though. The risk is someone tries drinking it and gets sick or something, and then I get sued. No thanks. That's a Belle Delphine joke. She apparently sold one thing of her piss for like $10,000. I think it got bought, which is disgusting. And chances are it's not even her pee. She'll probably come out after and say, "Oh yeah, it was my boyfriend pissed in that, haha," and you probably masturbated into his piss. Probably. Do you actually think that that's her bath water? I'm not 100% sure, but I do give her credit. I'll say this one thing about her before I shut off here. Excellent capitalist. She's doing a great job branding herself. I highly respect her because she's bilking people who are bored and lonely out of money, selling what's probably just tap water in little plastic jars. She's making a significant amount of money. She's making 5 figures selling tap water. Just imagine that. Excellent. Yeah, a fool and his money are soon parted. And trust me, most of them are male. And probably a few lesbians among them, too. They're like, oh, Belle Delphine's so hot. I can just imagine them dripping it on their nipples and weird shit like that. Oh, my God. Some people are into some weird shit. Yeah, no thanks. I don't think I need to buy anyone's bath water. I'd sell my own. I'll do a poll if people would actually buy it. Yeah, I'll take your money if you want to buy it. And it'll actually be bath water. It won't be fake either. I'll even make a video of bottling it up. Here's the bath. Yeah. I was washed my body. Enjoy the remnants of the compost from the garden from my fucking feet on here. And if you get any infections, it's not my problem. Oh, I got athlete's foot on my vagina. Oh, shit. I don't know. What guy takes baths? Guys that want to make $20, $30 for a vial of water, I guess. I'm a capitalist. Hey, you never know. Plushies are greater than bathwater. Yeah, I'll never sell plushies, but no. Yeah. Each bit, I should have my hair shaved off, but instead of donating it to cancer kids, I'll just chop into pieces and sell locks of my hair. But then I'd make less money because then I'd be bald, and I don't think people would like that. Yeah, I'm just mouthing off at this point. You'd have to be in a swimsuit. Yeah, the last thing that anyone wants to see. I would think like if she actually bathed in the water, like her ass has been in it, I would think that you could literally get like bacterial infection from that. I guess. That's just weird. One of the most expensive liquids on Earth is printer ink. Yes, yeah, and it shouldn't be. Why don't they design a printer that can work with ink that's cheap? They used to make ink out of rotting mushrooms and what is it? There's a certain kind of gall. I think black walnut was used as well. It turns a dark brown. Gall turns a blue, and then copernus mushrooms were used. They were dark purple, I believe, like close to black, and so they were highly recommended. Use the Gamer Girl bathwater as eye drops for instant pink eye. You probably would get it. And it's like there are people that will get turned on by that weird shit. It's what are you doing with your life? Have sex, incel. You know, it's to use the meme term. Jesus Christ. Pulverized mummies. Yeah, pulverized mummies were also used as medicine. They used to snort it, smoke it, eat it in pill form. There were so many mummies in Egypt. I've probably excavated hundreds of thousands of them to feed the mummy craze. Most of the mummies that were ever made in ancient times have been ground up and eaten by Victorian people. Yeah. Oh, yeah, steep your nuts in chamomile and sell the residue. Yeah, see, if I were to sell bathwater, I would take one of these and dump it in so it'd kind of be like tea. So at least it wouldn't smell like BO or something like that. Like, you know, nobody wants that. And if you do, and God bless you if you're interested in that sort of weird stuff. Yeah, buy Belle Delphine's tampons, $1 million. Oh, my God. Seriously, though, I probably should get off. You know, not in that way, but, you know, off the computer now, because I don't want the computer to get fried. It'd be a travesty. So I am going to let people go again. Quick recap. Facebook fatwa, them trying to get people killed, basically. Big mistake. Garrison was excluded from the social media summit. Tommy Robinson given 66 days in jail. And then just some general Q&A. Banter, ranting. So interesting times. Almost 3,000 people watching me rant about movies and shit. Oh, my God. That's about all. Peace out. If I can find the button.